Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today on Best of Both Worlds. I'm Linda V. Taylor, and this is the 100th episode, so you're not going to want to miss it. I have some very special guests, so stay tuned. I am so excited today because it is the 100th episode of Best of Both Worlds, and I want to thank you for joining us. And my special guests are Michelle and Andrew Weaver from the Gamble Company. We really appreciate them coming for this special event. So we're going to talk for a little bit, and then we will have a project later. There are also some wonderful prizes associated with this program, so you want to stay tuned for sure. So welcome to Andrew and Michelle.
Well, thank you for having us, Linda. It's wonderful to be here. You got a beautiful place here in Wyoming, and it's always great to come and visit you and Rick and see what you're working on and just chat and catch up.
And I always get the latest technology.
There you go.
When you come, I find how far behind I am. So
It's great to be here.
good. Good.
Well, and we thought that this being the 100th episode, it would be a great time to just spend a little time going down memory lane and do some reminiscing. So we thought we'd just kind of banter back and forth a little bit here and ask each other some questions about our history in the quilting world. So how did you get into quilting at the very beginning? How did you start quilting?
Oh, wow. Well, I did do some piecing and hand quilting originally and started that in the 70s, 80s. But it wasn't very long before I knew I had to do it on the machine. I'm very impatient. And so when I was we had moved to Texas, and I had started a drapery business, actually. And I really don't want to do any drapes anymore. But I was doing drapes for people, kind of personalized, take all my fabric samples and everything. I mean, I was really into it. But when I did their bedroom, they always wanted, to match.
A quilt to match.
That's right. They wanted a bedspread mostly, with that fabric. And so I was doing that on my little machine. That was terrible. You have at that point, tables all around and put them on and pin them. And so I did have a lady call me, and she said, I heard you did beautiful bedspreads, and I got fabric for my wedding. You must have a quilting machine. And I had never heard those two words together before. I'm like, well, I have a machine that I quilt on. She goes, no, one of those big things that I saw at the Texas State Fair. Yes. And I'm like, when is the fair?
How do I get me one of these?
Yeah, so I had to wait like 3 months till October, but I made it to the fair. It's a long story. It is online, but it's...
When you went to the fair, was there only one kind of machine there, or was there multiple?
There was only one kind, and how lucky I was.
Yeah.
That it was Mr. Gamble was there.
Yeah.
And I stood there just frozen when I saw it. I could not believe it, and my mind just went crazy. It was like I was struck by lightning, mouth open, and Mr. Gamble came up and said, can I help you? Wouldn't you like to try it? And I'm like, no, just bring it to my house and I'll figure it out. I was so excited. And then when I asked him the price.
I was going to ask what you thought of the price when you heard it.
Well, it was $6,999 at that time.
Wow, you could have bought another car with that.
At that time.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And so the first question out of my mouth, which is very surprising, was, when will you cash the check? Because I didn't even have $1,000 in my account. That would have been. So then it's just a long story how I had to, get part of a loan, borrow some from family, and But I paid it off in 6 months. So I
Well-
think you just jump in. You just jump in. You're either in or you're out. Yeah.
What made you believe that you could make it pay off to have this machine?
Because I already had a drapery business. So I knew that I could increase that business. But what I did was decrease that business and increase the quilting. Then the quilt shop that was in McKinney found out I had a machine. And so then it was just, I was just deluded with, you know. And I had it at home. Didn't get into a shop yet. It was about a year later that I got into a shop next to the quilt store. How convenient is that? And started that, and then eventually I moved actually into the quilt store. And I think probably one of the very first, that was in 1995, to be inside of a quilt store. It was a great symbiotic relationship.
So how did you go from making lots of quilts and running your business to being, you know, a famous nationally recognized teacher for quilting?
Marcia Stevens was had called me to. She was starting the Machine Quilters Showcase, and so she called to see if I would teach. Because I started teaching, I started selling the machines, and you have to teach people how to use the machine. So I was having a great time with the classes, you know, and so I guess she just heard about that, my reputation.
What's your favorite part of teaching a class?
My favorite part is seeing someone who didn't think they could do something, and feeling that feeling with them, that excitement of accomplishment, and seeing the light in their eyes of knowing how much further they can go. Now it's like opening the door, and then there's the rest of the world for them. Yeah, and some of them have done incredible, even class projects that have won Best of Show, or, you know, at some of their local shows and things. And just, I mean, they're just so thrilled. And they become such good friends, too. I'm just turning on that light. That's the best part of teaching. Yep.
So you did a lot of hand-guided teaching for a lot of years, but this is the best of both worlds, so hand-guided and computerized. So I hear that you were a bit of a slow adopter to the computerized machine. Can you tell us a little bit about your reluctant journey into computerization?
Well, I love freehand so much, and I love the designs that I could come up with. It all started really with Paul Statler, and he came to do a show with me. It was actually on Linda's Long Arm Quilting show, and he brought a Statler with him and set it up in our shop, and he was showing me all the stuff, and I was truly amazed, but I honestly was fearful. Okay, I was afraid that I wouldn't be able to do all of that and remember all the steps and everything. And so he took it back. I wish I'd have kept it, but he took that Statler back to Missouri. And so it wasn't until a few years later, I wish I knew which year it was, that, you know, my son-in-law, Todd Fletcher, worked with us, and he's such a technology expert. And so he was all over the Statler. And so it was just real gradual. He'd showed me this, he'd showed me that. And so I could pick up the things that I wanted on the quilts, but I still did a lot of freehand. And then actually it was in a class with one of your people, Jennifer, and I was showing how you could do your design with your Statler and then enhance it with your freehand. And I said, this is really the best of both worlds. And she went, best of both worlds? That's a really good name. It's like, so I think it started there. I don't even know. Yeah. So that's what I try to do, is incorporate everything so that everyone, whether you have a computerized machine or not, can enjoy the programs, and everything that I do with the Statler can also be done freehand. It just takes a lot longer. Yeah.
So you've been in the industry for a very long time. You've been very famous. I'm certain that you've been courted by all of the other brands over the years. What is it that's made you be a Gamble girl all through those years and stay that way even to this day?
You know, I've worked on other machines when there weren't Gamels available in classes where I taught around the country and out of the country. And I couldn't quilt the same. I'm sorry. I really couldn't. And I just love every single feature. And the upgrade on the Statler to the Ascend has made a huge difference in the speed and everything. I just working with the Statler in particular, and all the features that you can. I mean, it's limitless. I just feel like I'm not limited in any way. And yes, over the years, no, I never even considered it, but I have been offered. They said, you can even have it while you have the others, and then you can compare. I'm like, no, thanks.
So what are some of your favorite projects from the Best of Both Worlds? We've had 99 episodes. This is the 100th episode. What were some of your favorite projects from some of those episodes?
Oh, they were all my favorites. I wouldn't put anything that wasn't my favorite, but I don't know. You know, I think back to the very first couple of episodes where I was doing a Baltimore album. That quilt I loved that quilt so much, and there were so many techniques that I used. And then there's also these Halloween quilts that I did that were just had so much fun putting patterns on them and freehand. I mean, using both, just so awesome. And then the antique quilts, you know, like this one. I don't piece. I had to make a choice years ago. You're either going to piece or you're going to do this. You can't do both. And so I made that choice. But I can buy quilt tops. And so I love buying quilt tops and just completing them. I'm the Obi-Wan Kenobi of finishing quilts. Yeah, so, oh man.
Can you explain that comment a little bit more? How is it that you're the Obi-Wan Kenobi? I'm not that big of a Star Wars
the
fan.
only hope.
Oh, the only hope.
Getting it done.
What advice would you give to somebody who's just looking at starting out in quilting or looking at getting a quilting machine?
Well, I think if they're interested in really thinking about getting a quilting machine and doing it, they should stop thinking about it and just dive in. I mean, that's what I did. I was reluctant with the computerized just because I was afraid of computers. At that point, I'm a little more technologically advanced now, but not much. I watched a lot of people over the years that were thinking about it, and they're like, no, I'm going to take a business class, and I've got to do all my homework, and and I'm like, by now I would have had my machine paid for, you know. I mean, you can start out right away. You know, if you're thinking of a business, you can start out right away making money and doing really good work. And then you learn and you advance as you go. And if you're just doing it for yourself, hey, you've got quilt tops. That's why you want to get a machine. So you have lots of things that you can. We're practicing on every quilt we do. You know, I'm always thinking about that. I'm like, well, this will be new, but you know, but we learn as we go. You just don't know it all when you start.
I think a lot of times people overestimate how difficult it's going to be to get started with their new machine. I can't tell you how many times people have said, well, you know, it'll be a year or two before I'm taking customer quilts. And I'm like, probably 30 days at the most. Because you'll have all your quilts done by then. And you're like, well, they look good, so...
They look terrific.
Yeah, so why not? People constantly overestimate how long it will take them to be moderately proficient with the machine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they worry so much about the business and taxes and all that, but that will come, that will come. And I mean, there's a certain, I had everything divided in shoe boxes, really. This is June, this is July, you have to keep all of these things. You just have your little receipt book to start with, and then you get it computerized. And I mean, it just all evolves. So if you wait until that time, you've lost so much of that fun.
Yeah.
It's really, really, really fun.
Well, and back in the day, you didn't have anybody to really teach you how to use it. You just told Ken Gamble to drop it off your house, you'd figure it out, right?
Yes.
And
He
they
did
had an
drop it
800
off.
number to call if you needed, tech support or help fixing the machine, right? So how is it, how has technology improved over the years in helping people get started in ways that you couldn't even have dreamed of?
Yeah, well, you can go on the internet, really, and just, you can watch a quilt be made. You can see that on my shows, and you can see it on other shows. So now you have, I understand, I used to teach business classes eventually, and people, because they didn't know what to charge, they didn't, they had lots of questions.
Yeah.
But now you have a show that helps them with that.
Yeah, so the Quilting Business Success is it's a podcast, but you can also watch the YouTube videos, and there's a page on the gamble.com website where you can see all the episodes there. And so a lot of times if people want to just kind of like learn from, gosh, there must be 100 people there now that have told their story about how they started their business, how much they charge, whether they offer binding, what do they, how do they run their business, what their biggest challenges were, what they thought, what they wish somebody would have told them before they started, like all these things. And so you can go there and learn from everybody's story. But we also have an Accelerate program. So when people purchase a machine, a lot of times they'll want to get the Accelerate program with it so that they can immediately kind of hit the ground running in their business. Mm-hmm. And that gives them a coach that's assigned to them to help them with setting up and growing their business. And
wow.
Yeah, it's a 12-month program.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a lot of recorded content in there, but the real value of it is having somebody who can walk with you through those steps to make sure that you do everything, to make sure that you build a business that you're happy with. Mm-hmm. Because one person's idea of the perfect business is not the other person. I remember one lady we were interviewing on the podcast, and she said that she'd done over 1,000 quilts a year for the last 20 years. And I thought to myself, she's loving it. This is the life she wanted to build for herself. But I thought to myself, I would never want to do that many quilts. Like, that just sounds like prison to me. But it was her dream and passion, mm-hmm. and what she wanted to do. And then I interviewed another lady who does 30 or 40 quilts a year, and she's thrilled with the business that she's built. She's doing custom quilts, a much smaller number of quilts, mm-hmm. but each project she gets to really pour her time and passion mm-hmm. and talent into. And she also has built a business that she's in love with. Mm-hmm. So part of it is like knowing yourself and having mm-hmm. a coach to help you to go through all the little ins and outs. Is very helpful.
Wow.
So
I'm so impressed, really. That would have been wonderful. Can't even imagine. Just had my husband to help me. He did develop my program so I could put people's, quilts in, and it figured out how much for either overall or custom and stuff like that.
He probably didn't want you doing the math.
No, he did. No, there are a lot of things I don't do, like cook anymore. I don't cook anymore. So I'm on the project now, and I just want to explain to Michelle how excited I am about this project. It is called Don't Worry, Be Happy. It's just a little wall hanging, but it comes from the project that I did with Sherry Meineke Johnson, and this was right after 9/11, actually. We decided we needed a quilt to really cheer up everyone. So this quilt has a butterfly got out of the spider web. The sun is crying, but there's little birds to cheer them up, and it has a little monkey on it. like this one does. And so it's just got really fun things, very free, and this is all freehand. So it's a really good project just to play with. It really is.
It sure looks like a whole lot of fun.
It is fun. And I've got mushrooms at the bottom. These still need, I'm still going to be working on this quite a bit, putting some dark ground underneath it. I'll put a little bird in here as well. And the sun is just happy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It looks
very happy looking.
Yes. And Sherry had monkeys. She didn't have children. She didn't have
She had
dogs.
like real monkeys?
Yes, real monkeys. So she puts monkeys in a lot of her quilts. And so that little monkey is a little rascal, and it's really, really cute. So it's just a really fun project, and I can't wait to get started to show you how I'm going to finish it. So first I'm going to finish up with this darker color of blue. You have to change colors so many times on this quilt, and it's just really, really fun to do. I'm just doing that darker color through here, and I come out with those points, and then I try to go back in with those points so they're all kind of uneven, so it doesn't look like I'm just doing like a zigzag. Some are longer, some are shorter, like that. And then as I get over here, then I can go back in and fill in those other areas like that. So that's how you do that, and it works really well for ground. And I just want to do that there. And then I'm doing a little more over here. And there'll be other things I fill this in with. I try to keep it horizontal, although sometimes I do go with the curve just a little. And when you're in tiny little areas, you really can't do shorts and longs. But I'm just staying close to these lines that we have. Like this, I just want that color to be at the bottom, because I am coming back, so I'm just touching it in there with that. Like that. And just over here, like that. Fill that in. Like that. That's good. When you originally place these little curls and kind of echoes in here, you know, you can pre-mark that if you want to, but really it's just freehand through there. And, you know, I even got like a little feather there. It's really, just don't worry about it, okay? Don't worry, be happy. You do want to leave some areas. These are going to puff up. As you can see around all of this, these are going to puff up. So that really makes the quilt very interesting. I am going to use this other blue. I have used the dark blue to come up and around, just kind of lightly. Now I'm going to come in with a different blue and just kind of make it a little bit more interesting and fill it in even better. I think the combination of the blues is great. On this one I'm going to come behind. Then come out here. This time I'll come in front. These are shorter. The darker blues were longer. So this is just kind of filling in. Don't worry where you were before. So this one I'm going to come on this side of it. Like that. And then switch to the front. doing that same technique. And I do usually do this in constant, but I'm in regulated this time, just so I can go a little slower. See how that added that extra color and filled it in even better. Again, I'm trying to keep it all as horizontal as possible. And then right around the flower. Oh, I love it. That is a really great blue. There we go. I love birds so much, and this is not in the picture, but I just want to put a little bird down here. So I'm going to do that. Here's the wing and the head and the wing, and then I can come back and do feathers. And this head is going to come down with the beak like that. I'm going to come out here and do feathers back over to here. And I think I'll put a couple of crystals there. I'm going to go over that beak like that. He's kind of hanging over the... He's hanging over the border there, so let's do some eyes. And I'll come back and put a couple of crystals there. I know, but it's my bird, and somewhere in the world there's a bird that looks just like that. Okay, I'm going to do a feathered heart in this heart. And first I start with the teardrop, and then I come around, follow that down, and come back, follow heart around, backtrack on that, come around, and then down here. And then the best thing is just to follow this heart all the way back, and then come back from the bottom up, like that. And one more, and that will leave me at the top. So now I'm going to do these little things. These are not in the picture either. At the end of some of these, I'm going to put what I call a texture dot. Some I am and some I'm not, but it really shows up on the quilt and looks terrific. It just adds so much interest. So that's what I did with the pink thread. Now I'm going back to the lighter blue thread, and we'll finish around these hearts. One of the things that I want to do is separate these hearts. I just need a little line to remind me right there and in between these. And it gets kind of convoluted over here, so I just want to keep that straight like that. And in between here. The sunshine is kind of coming over in these areas, and I love that. I love that. So, and this will go all the way around all of these. So those lines will be very helpful for me. I'm going to start with a little pinwheel here. Come around it like that. And then these are just sort of that half circle coming over there like that on that side. And then on this side, and I'm going in. Did you see how I came inside where I had left an opening there? And that's real important. And I will show you why. And these are just kind of it's hard when you get down into this little area to keep it as curved, because you just are filling in that little area. And then these are curving up like that. But then on this side, they're going to be going this way. And just go in between these like that. So you're just connecting them. Try to get a little bit more curved. It's really hard to remember to keep it curved because you're reaching out in other areas. This one can just be like that. Then I'm curving up again, but I'm not going to go past my little line. I can see my little line there, and I can leave a little space in there, which I'll come back from the other side. And this is going to come all the way around and all the way around like that. And then I'm going to be coming from this side. So these are going to be going like this. Curving up, and I just kind of go into where I was. Do you see that? I know, maybe this looks really easy. I hope that you're not afraid to do it, but you have to kind of concentrate. Okay, then this changes, and these are going this way, and these are going this way. So they interlock. They interlock when they're in between each other. Again, I can just do a straight one, and so that changes it. And then I come back, and I'm changing to go on this last one. You see how those interlock? Keeping them curved, keeping them curved. Straight down, changes the direction. Draw it out on paper first. Awesome. Perfect. That filled in all the space, and I like the movement. Whatever you do is going to work out fine. And I love the interlock in between the two, in between all of the different hearts. I've already done the feather around the top here of the stem on the flower. So now I want to come in, and I'll show you what I did here. I'll do another one of these. I love to fill in feathers with all kinds of things. I call them feathers. They're a combination of flowers and feathers. So let's do that right here. So all you have to do really is, and I'm doing it with a different color. I'm doing it with a different color of orange. So these are half circle, half circle, half circle, go clear to the side, half circle, and then you put your pinwheel in it. And in these others, I'm just going to do kind of a little stem with a curl there. And this is all with a different color. Still orange, but the different color. Those are cute. Maybe I can even just do something like that. There are lots of things here that you could put in just to decorate it, make it look so beautiful. Because everything on here is just so that we don't worry. I know some of you are so worried about perfection. I get it. But look how pretty that looks with that other color and just filling those feathers in. I've already gone around the little monkey, and what you have to do is you just have to keep it perpendicular to the object that you're going around, if you're going to go around something. So, and you might need to make some lines on that to make sure that you don't get it curving. But I want to come back with this lighter color of orange and just do really, really tight all the way around, just to set him off even more. I mean, he's quite a focal point, I would say. Little tiny, so I don't want it to be the same length as the other one. I want it to be like a shadow of it. Just adding that extra color in there. And I can see already I'm going to love it. You could do that with that bright yellow too. I'll come over here and finish this little area before I start on the tail. It already has some short things except up here. So, but you can follow that extra color line all the way around. It makes such a difference. Just really short in there. There we go. Oh, he's way better. Okay, I'm just going to, I already have the feathers in, and I've put my gamel right there. So I'm going to make some of these a little fancier. I'm going to come down with the teardrop, and then come right in. It's called a deep echo there, and I'll do another one, and another one, like that. Then I'll come over here, drop down. Maybe I'll just do 2 echoes on that one. Let's see, let's change it up on this one. Let's come up and do little teardrop, little teardrop, little teardrop. You can have these dimensional. You can get the teardrop bigger as you come down, like as you come down to the end of the feather. This one is a narrow one. I think I'll just put these little things in like this. And these I just love to just kind of caress them with a little fern like that. And on this one, I'll start here with the teardrop like that, and this come around. So I'm putting a feather in a feather, and come back down. It's pretty narrow down there. And this one will really add some color. I'm just kind of doing half circles like this. But then I'm going to come back in on the sides and do perpendicular. Just add color in there. You're not an embroidery machine, you know, it's not going to be that thick. But remember the angle. Remember the angle. You see up here at the top, I'm straight up and down, and then it turns. And then on the side, you're perpendicular to the outside of the feather. And that will pop that little area up, almost look trapunto. I love it. Now we're ready for the green thread. I just want to point out what I did on the border. It's just so perfect for this quilt, and I know I need to get it digitized so that you can use it on other quilts, but I started with a kind of a teardrop, a pointed teardrop, sort of a flame, and then just a nice half circle over here, and then went right into a pinwheel because the border is curved. So pinwheel fit perfect there, and then I just kind of did a 1/4 inch, and then did another pinwheel, 1/4 inch, did another pinwheel, all freehand, of course. And then when I got to the end, I did the other corner, and then I came back and just echoed, but these are deep echoes, so they go in deep. There's not the same distance here as there is here, so you want to go do a deep echo. You go in, come around, go in, and then again, I think I did it like 3 or 4 times, and I didn't count. So, but it really is flowing, and it just looks perfect for this particular border. There were about 3 different techniques I used with the green thread, and in this area, I just used echo. But if I'm in one area and I can see I have more space to fill, I just fill it while I'm there. So I'm echoing these pretty close. And then I'll come back, get a little further away. Then I'm going to just run over here like this, and I'm going to echo in here because I want to echo this side. There'll come a point where I'm right together with my echo. I love it. I can follow this up like this. and echo this all the way up. Just kind of adds that other color to it. Now in this area, I wanted to just make it sparkle and shine. So I am going to do kind of a dot there, and then a line, and then a line. Just kind of making a star there, like that. You could make some of those short or long, and you can just go from one to the next. The other thing you could do with all of these is make a texture dot at the end of each of them if you wanted to. Remember what that texture dot is? You just do a little circle thing there. So you can put as many of those as you want. I'm going to bring it down and do another really nice one here. And then later you can come back and embellish it with a bead or a crystal. Maybe another little one here. They really do a splash of color. And maybe one more down here by the bird. He's wanting a little bit of sparkle down here. Oh, I've got to have one more here. Remember to cut all your threads on the back. They're easy to see on the front. There we go. So we pretty well filled that in. Look how that green just pops out. This next technique I call arches, because I just don't know what else to name it, but you go over this half circle like 3 times and then come out with another one. You could call them horseshoes if you wanted to, but they don't all look like horseshoes. But it's the greatest technique I have found to make earth or dirt or gravel. And I think you'll really like it when you see. So you go over everything 3 times, just keep it curved. It's kind of weird when you're doing it. You're like, okay, which direction do I go now? So you go to the middle of it and go the other direction. Can you see what's happening right before your eyes? And it really puts down the color and the texture. I mean, whoa. And the other thing that it does is because you're pounding that down 3 times, it raises up the other areas. They just magically raise up, and so you get a completely different texture. You really can't do it wrong. As long as you do those 3 things. You don't want it to look like, you don't want to get it all going the same direction. That's why you have to like take off with the one that's going completely opposite. Just hang it, just hanging out there like that. Maybe I'll just come out of that one, go this way. Now go. Opposite. And just come off of that and go there. I know, if you feel like you're doing it wrong, that means you're doing it right. This technique is just weird, but it looks so good. And there's so many places to use it. Skies, clouds, all kinds of things. This next technique is echo stipple. So I want to show you how to do that. I am using constant. I'm going to come out here with a worm like that, and then come off with some other worms, and then echo that back. Let me turn my speed down just a little bit. There we go. So, and then you just echo what you already have. You can put in like a little pinwheel every so often if that seems appropriate. It's very long and I love it because it is different than just your regular stipple. You're using those long worms. That's it. You're doing those long worms and then just echoing them. And just come up with some appendage that you can go back and echo. Isn't that fun? You got to try it. Look how pretty that is, and it just fills it in so nicely. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciated the weavers being here. It's just been a wonderful day for me. 100 episodes, and the next 20 years are going to be my most creative, so I hope you'll be watching for the next 100 episodes. Thanks again for joining me. See you next time.